Hi, good afternoon, welcome to the shed. Today, just got a short video for you. We're going to be making a maker's mark, something that looks really cool. Yeah, so hopefully should be a short video. If you cast your minds back to the original video, which was the lead goddess that was found in the pond of a stately home. So that was where I grew up. This logo here was the logo for the Gardens of Easton Lodge, which is the aforementioned stately home where I grew up. And this logo was, I wouldn't say it was designed by my lovely dad, but it was commissioned by him. And yeah, so basically I'm going to adopt that as my maker's mark, and I'm going to recreate this as a silicone mould, which I can then include in my lead artifacts. So yeah, that's what we're going to do this time. Should be quite a quick one. I did get into trouble for saying this is just a quick video previously. My son said I can't do that if you then have a video that's 20 minutes long, so I will try and keep this under 15 minutes. See how we get on. I will give you a quick overview of how I'm going to go about it, and then we'll get on with the build. I've only got a little bit of silicone left. I'm also going to use this to test my glass beads, which it said micro beads, but to be honest they're more like dust, but we'll see how we get on. Things first though, I've got to have a bit of a tidy up in the shed. So after I finished the frog, by the way, these are now on Etsy if you're interested, or eBay. Yeah, I cast another one this morning. That reminds me, something else to show you. I created a box, a mould box with my two moulds in. So in there is the top of the frog, sorry, the bottom of the frog and the top of the frog. So I can put those together. It holds them nice and compact, stops the lead leaking out, and they're near enough the right height for me to pour straight into. I tried that this morning, worked really well. So yeah, that's a good thing to do in the future. Okay, let's crack on finally. So the idea is that this tiny mould will consist of a sandwich of two bits of wood. Not quite sure I'm going to stick them together yet, because obviously they've got the perspex in the middle. Hopefully you can see that. With a large hole there. That will then become the mould. These bits are cut away, so that will fill with the solution, the rubber solution. I drill a hole through here so that it becomes a round. The idea is it'll be like a silicone button I can then include in my moulds, and I can make several of them. So I've got a Forstner bit in here, and I'm just going to take that through. I don't know if you'll be able to hear anything once this starts. Should have done, shouldn't I, really? How am I going to hold that then? Okay, so I'm sure some of you saw me nearly take my fingers off there, which was kind of to be expected. Can you see that? That is going to look pretty good once it's done. So it'll stick out on the mould, and it will be indented in the final product, which is what I want. Could try it the other way around, I suppose, but yeah. Okay, I'm going to find a way of sticking these two together, and then we'll give it a go. I drilled a bigger one because there wasn't anything around the edges. It's actually going to be a little bit too big, I think. Okay, we'll give it a go. If you can see that in the sandwich. maybe I'll try each size. That might be the way to go. See what works best. Trouble with that is I've got a bit of a gappage around the outside, but we can clean that up in the mould. Okay. Okay, let's mix up some silicone, clamp this together. In the end, I went for the smaller one. I think it's going to look better, even though in the mould it doesn't look quite right. I've just got to adjust that slightly. I just use tie wraps because I need the mould to be adjustable. So I'm going to pour some silicone in there. Have a look. Okay, so I'm mixing up the silicone rubber. I basically got 15 grams of each half of the silicone mix, so 30 grams, plus 15 grams of the glass beads, and just giving it a mix up. They do make the mixture a bit thicker. I don't know if you can see that, but it I think it'll work. Okay, let's see if we can get that into the mould. Camera over here. Tell you what, let's stop it and start it. Okay, so here's my mould, tiny little thing. This is going to fill it up about 8 times, but that's okay. We don't worry about that. I did put in some mould release as well. I think it's worth doing that with this sort of mould, just to make sure. Okay. That is plenty, or more than plenty. Let that settle in. There's my little silicone sandwich, or acrylic and silicone sandwich. Hopefully I can just shave the top off that once it's set, although I think the glass is going to make cutting harder, so that's another thing I'm going to have to think about. Probably only going to use it for detail when there's no detail involved, so as a filler, and for the detail bits I'll stick with the pure. Okay, put that to one side, come back to it in a few hours. I've cut the tie wraps off and I've separated the mould, and the light's a bit strange, but yeah, you can sort of see that there. I've cleaned that up a little bit, and I've just got to pull that off, and it does come off because I've tried it once already. How cool does that look? And that's still intact as well. It's fairly fragile, but I think it'll last 2 or 3 cuts. Okay, so I'm going to just clear up. Be careful. Dust, as I called it. Right, I'm going to try pushing that through. Yep. Okay, there we go. That's the button of the maker's mark that I'm going to use. So I'll clean that up, and next time we build a mould, we'll include that. I think that'll work. Just started to cut this, and as suspected, I can feel the glass beads in the silicone. It kind of still works, but it's not as nice to cut as the original one. So I'll have to bear that in mind depending on what sort of work I'm doing. Yeah, I can feel it scraping. When I come to install this in a mould, I will drill a hole using the same size, using that, into the actual silicone itself, and then I can just embed it So that edge there will probably show, but it won't be too rough, and that should give us a nice impression. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. We won't really know what it turns out like until we've done an actual pour. Oh, gone too far there. Excellent, thanks very much. Okay, so that's the end of the video. I think it's turned out quite good. I won't know until I actually get it in a mould to try it, so I think it's too big for the frog, but I will use it on the solar goddess that we'll be doing in the next few days. Forgot to say thanks very much to my brother Phil, who cuts these on his laser cutter, which he's very skilled at. You should check him out on Etsy. He sells wooden spoons etched with, I don't know, Tiger King, Harry Styles, various other characters. Have a look for him. Okay, that's it. Thanks very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment. Brilliant. Thanks very much.